Just 2 weeks behind Knox Johnson, who continued eastwards for another lap of the Southern Ocean to save my soul, as he put it. This is the real solo race, sailing like it's 1968.
Forcément, tous les gens qui reviendront de la Golden Globe Race, forcément, il faut s'attendre à ce qu'ils aient changé.
It's a great story and it's the 50th anniversary, and it's a great opportunity to relive the original solo sailing when technology wasn't available, where we're just using sextants and wind-up clocks to find your position. And it's really the story of humanity and human endeavour in the extreme. So the world has never seen anything like this event.
Well, good day, everybody. We're here. 3 minutes ago, we didn't know whether we would be. There's always a story. Anyway, we've got Dean on the side. He came up about 1 minute after we were supposed to start. Long story for later. Anyway, a couple of quick updates. I'm in a new place. This is home now for the next 6 months, probably. And we open the office, the GGR office will open in about 10 days or something. So the next live might come from there. And we're still in lockdown in France, but the president is apparently speaking when? And in a couple of Thursday with another update here. So hopefully it's getting better. I'm not sure. The Vendée started big time. We weren't on last week. We decided not to bring on the 3 silly sailors and stuff because we'll keep that for the very end. Give you a chance to send your questions in and things like that. There was a lot going on. We didn't have the GGR press conference, obviously, because we went into lockdown, which was kind of sad because there was going to be a bit of fun going on there and some updates, but we're going to get a newsletter out shortly, so that'll tell everyone what's going on. Looks like we've got another French entry coming in. Can't say anything yet, and he may even have a bloody rustler. I'm not sure. Anyway, more about that later when it becomes official, and maybe even another American entry. We'll see. Yeah, we've moved to a place. Ada's here, backing me up with questions. So remember, you can ask questions and so on. And it's always good to see comments from people who's watching. We get at least 3 or 4, I think. Just Doug, you know, everyone's really keen to find out about Doug. Let's see. I think that's probably all the main ones. The Vendée is really interesting. Some of the tech, I just put a post up about Boss. You know, some of the information you're getting, it's going to get very intense. The weather's pretty ordinary at the moment, but they're heading down through the Atlantic. It's going to get very tactical and then get into the Southern Ocean. Wow, they could get around in 60 days, so it's quite interesting to follow. All right, on that, I'm going to go straight into Doug. I haven't seen Doug. This is the first time I've seen him since February, I think. Where are you? 1, 2. G'day, Doug.
Hey, Don. How are you?
I'm not bad. Just give us a sound check because we didn't down to get anything. I can hear you, but it's weak.
I don't know what to do.
Oh, that's okay. Maybe get closer to the camera, but we can hear you. That's okay. So where are you right now?
But I'm about an hour west of Phoenix at a private airstrip, and it's kind of where I've been since July, actually.
Holy dooly. Phoenix, Arizona, right? That's from the cowboy and Indian shows.
Yeah, the Wild Wild West down here, yeah.
And so you're firebombing still?
So I haven't really done much the last couple weeks. I took a couple days earlier last week and went for a little hike in the Grand Canyon, and then just got word yesterday that I'm free to go now. So a couple days and I'll be hopefully headed to get to work on my boat because I haven't seen it since I got off it in May, I guess.
Okay. Well, just before we get into it, let's just go to the boat, just because some people might not have ever heard of you before. So you've actually bought Uku's boat, another bloody rustler.
Yes, I did, and I've sailed it back to the United States and made a few stops along the way, and come to find out, you're right. No one's heard of me, but everyone's heard of the boat.
Don't feel too bad about that. It'll roll over. By the end of the GGR, it'll be your boat. Okay. So, and there's a funny connection to right here and now. I know the story. It all evolved from the Vendée 4 years ago. Give us a story. Give us the angle on that.
Yeah. So I came to France to spectate for the Vendée Globe in '16, and didn't know anyone, didn't speak a word of French, and met a person there that introduced me to Lionel and the One and All boat when Lionel owned it. And so lots of things happened in between, but now I'm sort of lucky to be the owner of One and All now. So
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah.
And Lionel, of course, he was preparateur with Jean-Luc, and now Lionel's just bought a boat to go in the OGR. He's got a Le Sable d'Olonne crew. He's one of four, probably five entrants in the OGR. Anyway,
Yes.
that's kind of cool. So, all right, let's go back to the beginning and tell us about you, where you were born, what you did as a kid. You know, how it all evolved into your career and sailing. So, where was your family? You know, how did it happen?
Well, I was born and grew up in most of the sandhills in Nebraska, which is about the dead center of the United States. And if you look at the sandhills from, say, Google Earth or something, from altitude, it looks like the surface of the ocean, the wave sand, and it's a massive geography in the center of the United States.
Sandhills in the center, and so no water, no ocean.
Well, that there's a lot of water actually. The water's very near the surface. That's really almost the heart of the largest water aquifer in the United States, called the Ogallala Aquifer. And so we had lots of sandhills, lakes, and lots of potholes that are full of water. On our ranch, there were places where you could dig a post hole and hit water. So it was very near the surface, and we had several lakes on our property and three small streams that ran through the property. So there was lots of water around. It's not like down here in Arizona where it's just hot and dry all the time.
So I just got to make a mental note, Ada. Make sure we buy Doug a sheriff's badge, from Nebraska and Arizona, and you're the quintessential sheriff, Like Americans are great. There's so many different types of American, and coming from Central America, not Central America, but right in the middle of America, and now in the GGR and sailing around the world, it's going to be quite fun.
Yeah, well, I'm not really new to sailing. I started mostly with wind-powered stuff on ice. We had lots of that in the wintertime. That's the thing that probably got me most interested in it. And then when I was in the U.S. Navy, of course, spent quite a bit of time in the Pacific Ocean with that.
Yeah. So okay. So this is you where when?
So that's working calves on the ranch at home. That's in the sandhills of Nebraska. That's a horse that bucked everybody off and nobody liked to ride. His name is Marshall, and
no one likes to ride him except you.
Well, yeah, I spent a little bit of time training horses and got a little bit of a knack for it. Kind of enjoy it. So yeah, I don't mind it.
So set me up with the ranch routine. This is the family ranch sort of thing. Like what's happening on the ranch? What's there?
Well, our ranch was homesteaded in 1881. It's been a while. It's a result of the Homestead Act here in the United States, and is predominantly always a cattle ranch, except during like World War I and a period of time through there where they really made their living and survived by raising mules for the Army. And because that was kind of one of the primary means of transport for the Army, was horse drawn, everything mule drawn. So they raised mules that pulled different types of things, and then they also raised horses that were cavalry mounts, and a lot of those went to at the time I think it was about 25 miles south of the ranch to a railhead, and got loaded on a train, and from there I don't know, probably to some degree they got shipped all over the United States and maybe even to Europe. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. So how many kids are in your family with you? Like, was it a big family?
So I'm one of four. I had an
Okay.
older who's passed on now, and then I've got a younger sister and younger brother.
And the ranch stays in the family and moves down the line, sort of thing.
Yeah, there's not really anybody in my immediate family that's still on the ranch, but yeah, we still have. When my grandfather passed, the ranch kind of got split. I think 5 or 6 different ways, and
Okay.
so it's still in existence, but I don't really personally have a lot to do with it on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. So did you used to build the ice yachts, or you just bought them, or just traded them with other people, or what?
Oh, no, they they were just cabbaged together from old, sleds and whatever whatever you could find laying around. We're
Okay.
nothing. Yeah,
So that's fast sailing. I mean, ice yachts have got to be generically very fast. So where did you get in the ocean, and what were you sailing then?
well, um, the first boat I ever sailed on, I believe, was like a Hunter 24 or something that um, the marine Camp Pendleton Marine Base Rec
Yeah.
Services had to rent,
Yeah.
and you could a friend of mine I was in the Navy with, apparently knew enough about sailing to talk him into letting us rent one. Uh, really, the first time I really sailed in blue water was from the Camp Pendleton Marine Base to Catalina Island.
Okay.
About that's about a 30-mile trip or something. So that was really my first time
So
actually sailing in blue water.
so what about? Tell me about your Navy time. How did that evolve? And what were you doing? Like, what division? What section in the Navy?
I started out in weapons division, and so I had my background there was in Tomahawk cruise missiles and Mark 48 AdCap torpedoes and stuff like that. Stuff that I was well versed in. Branch.
No six shooters, no revolvers or something. Now we're into tomahawks.
Uh, well, that's really a truncated story because when I actually joined the Navy, it was having to do with aviation because lots of ranchers where I grew up had Super Cubs,
Yeah.
so I was exposed to aviation very early on, and that was what I really intended to do was have a more of a flying career. And when I got in the Navy, that's what I had signed up to do, is actually go into air traffic control. And then somewhere along the line, they told me they'd given me a billet that was already filled, and I needed to pick something else or go home. And it's too cold at home to suit me, so I thought, well, I'll pick something else, and that's how I
Okay.
ended up with weapons to begin
Weapons,
with.
cool. And so just on this one, I mean, I'm a frustrated flyer. I've flown all sorts of things, but only little hours. You were flying before you went into the Navy. Like in the ranch environment, flying yourself.
Yes, I one of my earliest flights was in the back seat of a Super Cub with a spare tire for a horse trailer for a neighbor. They had a lot of the things had radios in them, so they could call back, and they had a flat tire, and the neighbor loaded me in the back seat of the airplane, and we flew out. And when he told me to just when he says ready, just push the tire out the door of the airplane. So we flew over these
So
flat
you're a
tire.
bomber now. You're a bomber. Scrap the sheriff badge. Okay.
Airplane, and got those guys home. But yeah, it's a long ways from nowhere where I'm from. It's for me going to high school, it was about a 60-mile trip from where I lived to school.
Far out. Yeah. Okay. Well, it sounds like there's plenty of stories there. So okay. So how long are you in the Navy for?
Uh, Altogether 6 years.
Yeah. Okay. And so this is about where my story when we first met. You started talking about planes, and I thought, wow, that's a nice plane. So you've got more than one plane at one stage. You're running an aviation crop dusting and filming and firebombing and stuff. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. So the business that I had was primarily crop protection. We did forest fertilization. We did. I had state contracts for firefighting. Did that for several years on the state level, and worked in conjunction on the federal level, and have done lots of flying things in aviation that are flying related that most of the general public's never heard of. Flew for USDA Wildlife Services, which was fun in some respects, and the fire bombing thing is it's probably one of the most dangerous things I've ever done as far as
it's a tough call.
Got lots of off airport time, off airport landings and takeoffs, and the photograph that you see there is my Cessna 180, and on the strut of the right wing you can see a camera mount mounted on there, and that was a mount that I developed in conjunction with the South Dakota School of Mines, and then ultimately we ended up shooting a book called The Dirt Meridian, which has gotten quite a bit of press across the U.S. and it's kind of my ode to the place where I'm from, really. And along with that, I've done quite a few different video things. A lot of the footage you see on the Inside Man that used to air on CNN. I'm not sure where you might see it now, maybe on Netflix still, but all of the footage in several of those episodes were from my airplane. The biggest one was about the drought in 2012 that had a pretty strong grip on the United States. So I've done lots of different
cool.
Lots of commercial stuff.
So, okay, we haven't talked much about sailing, too many other things to get on. But anyway, we'll get onto that in a minute. So now the best part, right? I'm going to throw some words at you, and you got to tell us what comes to your mind. It's going to be quite interesting because you're stuck in the middle of bloody America. So anyway, let's see what happens. The Sable d'Olonne.
Longing.
Space.
Abyss.
Adventure.
Too dominant.
Fear.
To be reckoned with.
Money.
Elusive.
Dreams.
Endless.
Loser.
Second place.
Hunger.
Longing.
Lonely.
Longing.
Luck.
Never enough.
Love.
Long.
That's enough. We try not to get personal here. Okay. Speed.
Slower is better.
Southern Ocean.
Last frontier.
Panic.
What happens after adventure?
Sleep.
Never enough.
Risk.
Reward.
Books.
Invaluable.
Mother.
Passed on.
Excitement.
Have had enough.
You ready to retire or something?
I think adrenaline has been. I've had more than my share.
Yeah, I'd believe that. Yeah, knife.
Must be sharp.
Sponsors.
What's that?
Trump.
Despicable.
I just thought I'd throw that in. That's enough. No need to. I'm trying to keep you calm. Let's keep the adrenaline out of this. No politics or religion, right? So I'd hate to throw that.
Hopefully,
I hate
from here on out.
Oh, we lost the audio there for a minute. We can't. That might have been a good thing. All right. Enough of that. It's going to be fun when we catch up, eh? We haven't seen each other since February. It was really quite amazing. And you did your trip across the Atlantic and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was truly, for me, it was truly leaving one world and arriving in a completely different
Yeah.
one. Um, my trip, I didn't, I had no idea what I was in for, honestly, on the front end. Looking back now, I truly regret leaving France. Um, there's nothing I can say that I should have stayed in France. Um, I had a little bit of lots of people say bad luck, but I think it was really good luck on the front end of that trip with the boat.
Yeah.
If I would have departed on my original date, which was a really good window to get across Biscay in, I'm not certain I wouldn't have sunk the boat. Thanks to Lionel.
Oh, because of the stern gland and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, prop shaft leak. The water was pouring in, and it just because the wind was blowing so hard that day. Lionel come with me to go to the fuel dock to tie up because the wind was blowing us really hard off the dock.
Yeah.
And when we got over to the fuel dock, there were a couple of cats, fueling up, and so we were waiting on them, and so we just motored around the marina and come back for probably 45 minutes or so. It took quite a bit of time, and so we just motored around the Port Alone and came to the fuel dock and tied up, fueled up, and then just had to pull around the corner to the slip that I was in. And when we did that, we got back to the slip, the pontoon tied up, shut the engine off. We just could hear water just pouring in, and
Not a good sound.
Truly
Yeah.
not sound, but it truly took both of us to, just get the water pumped out, and it turned out that the bilge pump also on the automatic side, it wasn't working. The pump itself was working, but just not on the automatic side.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, it by myself truly may have lost the boat in Biscay. That if I
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. Second edition questions. Pick a number 110.
8.
8. What's the most? Oh, this will be interesting. What's the most dangerous thing you've ever done? You got a bit of choice there.
Yeah, it's the thing you don't get away with, but I would probably have to say fire bombing. I've had some times when I truly didn't think I had any time left.
Do you want to explain one of them?
Yeah, sure. I can tell you one of them. And it happened to be in Nebraska and not terribly far away from where I'm from originally. But in the far northwestern part of the state, a big fire called the Wellnitz Fire in 2012, and it's not as rough a country as I've ever flown in, but it's relatively rough. It's the roughest part of Nebraska, really.
Yeah.
And the fire was very big and with lots of fuel. And there's some homes down in a canyon not too far from a town called Chadron, Nebraska. And and there was fire on both sides of this canyon with a house, actually like 3 houses down in the canyon. And I had flown down in the canyon to make a drop, and my intent was to make the drop, and then the airplane after the drop. Of course, the airplane's considerably lighter, and then the plan was to turn back around and 180 degrees and fly out the way I came in, because there really was a good way out to continue on forward, and I wasn't sure I could outclimb that fire. But fires create a lot of their own weather and wind. And
Obviously, yeah.
and when I banked, it was a steep bank to turn back around to go back where I came from. The airplane was in a bank. I was still flying the airplane, but because the fire was consuming so much oxygen and there was so much wind, it just kept pulling me. It just kept pulling me in. I wasn't turning back out the way I came, so I leveled my wings a bit. I put in all the power I had, and and I made it out of there. But even talking about that now, I just get chills all over because
Yeah, 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 yeah.
uh, well,
Well, yep. Let's have a bit of respect there. Okay, 10 to 20.
19.
19. How do you relax?
It's hard. I do like down here. I do lots of hiking. There's a
Yeah,
place 10-minute drive away, and a 6-7 mile hike every day is usually what I get done.
yeah.
Um, and
Makes sense.
that's just to kind of wind down.
Yeah. Okay, 20 to 21. Oh, sorry, 20 to 30. You're distracting me. See, I'm finding this really interesting. I'm just asking stories from me. Too many people aren't getting bored, but anyway,
Be 27.
27. Should we take life seriously?
Uh, I don't really think so. Like,
I'm thinking Trump here. That's all. Hate to mention that word again.
it's to me, it's a very, everywhere I travel that's not in the United States, I apologize to everybody for this.
No, you shouldn't feel like that. I mean, it's a good show sometimes, but anyway, that's another story. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's move on. 30 to 40.
Uh, 38.
38. Okay. Would you rather be without eyes or a mouth? And why? Without a mouth? Why?
Well, you have one mouth and two ears, so it's kind of that principle. Like, you should listen twice as much as you're talking.
Fair enough. Yep, that's cool. Okay. 40 to 47.
I
Don't ask
guess
me what happened to the last three.
42.
42. Okay. What are you passionate about? And everything except Trump. Anything except Trump. You know.
I guess for me, I would really have to say, it comes down to people.
Yeah.
That's the thing that most interests me, and that, at the moment, I see so very few of them because of the kind of uncontrolled pandemic going on in the United States here. But um, of all the places that I've traveled to around the world, for all sorts of different reasons and projects, it's always come down to the people and the local customs and the local cultures of people. Those things seem to interest me always the most.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Sounds cool. All right. Now, one last deep and meaningful question. You've got to pick a letter between A and N.
Between A and N.
Yeah.
A.
A. Oh, geez. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
I think that depends on who you ask.
I'm asking you.
I think it fits in the sandwich category, but
Okay.
may never.
That's an excellent answer. I really appreciate the thought. In fact, it was so good. I'm going to give you another question. Okay, pick another one between B and K. Oh no, B and N.
Between B and N.
Yeah.
A B.
You're picking all the good ones. Is a cereal a soup?
If it's cold enough, it's hot, I suppose yes.
Okay, that'll do. Okay, well done. You survived that lot. Okay, so we quickly went through the. In fact, before we get into the last questions, I'll go through, see who's here, and see if there's any questions. Pat, hi lads. Wet and windy here in Kingdom of Kerry. Aries Vein Gear, nice sunny day in Amsterdam. And I can't scroll down here. What's going on? Oh, jeepers. Celine is there. Aida's here, I know that. Jean Cousteau, hello Don, nice to see you, Doug. Time to come back soon, or your boat. Stay concentrated.
What? Stay what?
Yeah, it sounds like English French or something. Mentor will be the most important. Yeah, you're right. See you in Les Arbels. Gene again, bro. Don, see you every week. He sees me here. Yeah, right. Aida, well, the picture looks Marlboro country. Geez, that's close to a cigarette ad. We're not allowed to mention that. Ted Rhyming, g'day, Ted. Aida again, Doug. It's a message to you. Oh, it's all in the family. Everyone's family here. Mike and Gay made it again, and Ange Demuk Piscota, rainy in Wisconsin. So there's a few people there from America probably following you.
So Ada asked if Ada's got a question up where if I have a picture of one and all now, and so I just sent her one, and then she asked if I changed her name, and I part of the reason I like the boat is because of the name one and all. So no, I haven't changed the name. The picture I sent, I don't know if you can get it up or not, and I apologize for not getting you any photos. I've been kind of covered
That's
up.
Okay.
So the boat right now is sitting on the bank of the Potomac River on an old Navy buddy of property, because the place that I intended to go when I got back to the States, because of the pandemic, most of the boats were not leaving. So the space that the marina that I'd planned to go to didn't have any space available on the hard. And there's lots of those ports in and around Chesapeake Bay that are rather shallow, that are close by where most of my friends are. And so, instead of just waiting, I hired a truck, and we hauled the boat over and set it down in his front yard. And then I thanks to Goro in Canada, I found out about a tent, and I bought a tent, and now the boat's sitting on the bank of the Potomac River under a tent, kind of waiting for me to show up.
I wonder if it's just me. You got all the classic names, the Potomac River and all that sort of stuff. There's all these American movies we've been exposed to. Crikeys. Anyway, that's another story. A Lionel just turned up. You're the guy who nearly sunk your boat because he didn't maintain Uku's boat properly,
Shout out to Lionel.
Yeah. And Ilana Adler is following you from Wyoming. Oh, these names. I love it. Anyway, that's all cool. Burr Bits is there. G'day, Burr. Is the comic man, the Jean-Luc GGR comic. So if you haven't got a copy, you should get a copy. It's pretty epic. Okay, so normally I'd be saying something silly like, what makes you think you're going to beat someone else's boat? But you've got a bloody rustler. So where do you think you're going to fare in the GGR with your rustler? Which group are you in? Are you in, you want to win the race, you want to get around as fast as you can, or you're just going around to finish?
Well, my real intent was if I was going to compete, I just as well be a competitor. But this year has thrown so many turns. I mean, it my trip across the Atlantic, it turned into months of travel because of the lockdown and getting stuck in the U.S. Virgin Islands for 2 months, and then getting back to Chesapeake Bay, and then having no place to really go with the boat like was part of the original plan. And then this fire season with the fires and the whole western half of the United States had just been for a period of time they just were unchecked, and we've lost as far as the people in my industry, we've lost three of those really good pilots this year, which is a really unprecedented number for my industry. And so there's just been so many twists and turns to this year that I don't really know what to think. I started out with a pretty strong sponsor at the beginning of this year, and at the beginning of the pandemic, they backed out, and I feel like at this point I might be lucky to make the start line, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. And so what was the rollover for you deciding on doing the GGR? When did you first hear about it? When did you decide that you had to do it?
Well, I first heard about it, reading reading a book at about the age of 10, um, about the original GGR, that just always, I suppose that's the thing that sparked my interest before I even realized that had happened. Um, and my life has just always had something to do with water,
Yeah.
whether it was frozen or liquid. I've always had something to do with water, and the idea sort of started to form when Marie Christine was the first person I met, and is often said that the first person you meet is the most important. That's very true for me with Marie Christine in Le Sable d'Olonne, France. That introduced me to Lionel and one and all, and I looked at that boat and really didn't even realize, until a couple days later, like, oh, this is that reiteration of the second
The
edition
original. Yeah.
original race that I'd read a book about when I was 10 and have been sort of, steering towards ever since. And at that point, there was absolutely no way with the business that I was operating and all of that. And um, but that's kind of the spark started there in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
sub.
Okay, so you now think that, because I normally would ask the question, what's your toughest challenge? And you just mentioned that, geez, you're still even confused about even getting to the start line. So is that the issue of the pandemic and life gets in the way, things like that? So is it a logistical problem, a financial challenge, or just a psychological thing trying to work out, whether it's still really there for you for the GGR, like getting to the start?
Well, I think things are changing a bit now, but the pandemic here is just really unchecked. I think the last 3 days in a row or something, we've set a new high for confirmed
Yeah,
cases here in the U.S. Um, I'm a little unsure about my own resistance or how that might affect me, uh, because I've had Lyme disease and I've also had pneumonia. So I'm not sure if it will treat me very well if I was
yeah,
exposed to that. So and then in St. Croix and even getting back to the U.S., like trying to order parts, and then same thing goes with the airplanes that we're flying. They just ordering parts, like some things have shown up really quickly. Some things have showed up a month and a
yeah,
half, 2 months down the road.
yeah,
So it's just really been tough to tell, uh, about things. I ordered that tent. That that took nearly 5.5 months to show up, and
jeepers.
so just lots
You
of
need,
lots of things have not been the way they were a year ago at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Can you get a visa? Can you get a visa to come over here into France and stay here for a year or something? You need to quit the job, sail the boat back across, and get here and make it happen.
Well, I have, I've been, I had really had intended to, sail back and go
Yeah,
see uh, my uh, some relatives and be in New York for a little bit, and then I really had intentions of coming back to France
yeah,
uh, prior to my contract stuff starting down here,
yeah.
and now I have not tried to fly overseas at all, but there's a lot of places, and I think France now is one that if you have a U.S. passport coming from the U.S., you're
Oh no,
probably
you're gonna have to sail back. You know,
yeah.
if
So
you can
I
get.
haven't explored any of those options yet. The boat now, one and all, now has got the mast down and is all
Yeah,
tucked in to kind of ready to start the refit,
yeah,
and um, there's been a few parts that I've tried to order that I don't know are available, and so I think maybe I'm going to have to make some major changes on the boat. And the parts I'm talking about were for the winches that were on the boat.
yeah,
I had time, so I took them all apart in when I was in St. Croix,
yeah,
and uh, I made do with the parts I had, and luckily I could get some JB Weld, and I fabricated some of the parts and made it back to the States that way
yeah.
with ad. But speaking to Lumar, they were shut down for
Yeah.
months or something. There were no parts available. They were not making parts, not shipping anything. So that all that'll resume again for me now that I'm kind of cut free from this little gig.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, you gotta get over here. We want to see you at the start. We want to see you out there. You got a whole pile of people here in Les Sables alone that want to invite you for dinner, lunch, and breakfast.
And I miss them. I miss them so much. Yeah,
Well, just mate, we need you here. You got to do the GGR. I want the sheriff in the GGR. I'm going to give you such a hard time. Honestly, you got to buddy get here, brother. You just need to be here. So
oh,
think positive.
well, yeah, no,
Yeah,
nobody.
yeah. Think positive. I mean,
Nobody's
I mean, I see it in a few people. Geez, Graham Dalton in New Zealand, he's just getting the heebie-jeebies. He can't get to his boat in Les Sables d'Olonne. And now I'm starting to sense you've been so isolated there and all that sort of stuff. It's just, I mean, yeah, it's not a happy space, but we all got to think positive, I suppose. And I know there's the usual challenge. There's the
it's
usual challenge of GGR, just getting to the start line. But you just got to keep pushing it. We want to see you in the GGR.
Well, I mean, I feel fortunate. Like I can definitely get to my boat. There's others that can't. I talk to Kirsten every now and then,
Yeah.
and really has no idea when she can get to her boat uh, at this point. And it's I feel bad. Like there's not anything I can do to help about that situation.
Jane's not here. If Jane would be here, Jane's sitting in hospital at the moment in China. Long story, she's okay. But
Uh,
if she was here now, she'd have her head on the screen. So you got to get here. We want you in the race, right? So just remember, there's a lot of people that are out there that we need that drawling American scroll or something.
yeah, if I'm the typical American, but maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah, and besides the fact, Trump's gone. You should be having a party. I know your views on the issue. So
Uh,
everything's perfect. Trump's gone. Think
I,
positive. The fires are getting out.
he's got 72 or 3 more days or something. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, you've got about 1.75 years or something. So we want to see you. We're going over time now. We don't want to bore people. Is there something that you want to say to people about your GGR?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't even know where to start with the list, but I gotta say thank you, a huge thank you, because the outpouring of help and advice and camaraderie, even with the other GGR members, has been a little overwhelming. Like it's fantastic to be a part of, and it feels like it's such a bad situation, and in that respect, like all of us worldwide are going through that at the same time as well. So it's an added degree of difficulty for sure to for
Yeah,
every
yeah, yeah,
start line.
absolutely.
But yeah, there's no question. Like the thing I'd want to say is to everyone that I've run across and met. I made several different stops along the way, getting back to the United States, A Coruña, Spain, and La Palma, and then in St. Croix, and everywhere I've been. They had heard of the GGR, they knew the boat, they were interested in hearing about my story and how things are going, and there's been offers of help from literally all over the world that I really did not anticipate, because the contestants this coming race, there's some very notables in the sailing community, and I'm not one of those. I've sailed a lot. It's all been sort of on my own, but I'm not well known in the sailing community, and it's
Doesn't matter. You don't have to be well known. You just got to get there and be part of what's going on. Like that's the big thing. I mean, you
yeah.
really believe me. You've created your own worst bloody situation now, because people are watching this and thinking, is Doug going to be there or is he not going to be there? We're going to start a movement to get Doug here. You got to get here. You got to get here.
Not like I'm not trying. I came down here originally thinking I'd be here for maybe 45 days now, and I've been here since I don't remember the date, but I got down here in July, and it's now November, and I'm just as of yesterday said you can go, but I I'll have another contract probably February,
Yeah,
March or so.
yeah,
Uh, it just the who planned on the western half of the U.S. being on fire. It's
yeah.
I
Okay,
fires.
yeah. It's a tough call, eh? Everyone's got their own story, and that's what the race is about. It's all about the human story, and But we really hope you can get it together. There's a lot of people waiting to give you a hand and all that sort of stuff. It must be tough out there because yeah, it's not a lot of people around. So anyway,
Well, nothing to do with sailing where I'm at. Like you're
I
right.
know you're out of the loop.
Planes here, I'm really feel fortunate because, we have our own private sort of airstrip, which it's you
Yeah,
could see right out the window here if the sun
yeah,
was up, and actually the airplanes are parked right right here. Like how I go to work, I walk out the door and I step in the airplane and I go to work, and I don't have to be around the general public like so many people do. So I really feel fortunate for
yeah,
that
yeah.
work environment that I have.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all good. So we'll look forward to seeing you over here in France very soon. All right.
I, I hope you will. I truly hope you will. I hope to get there at least by April or so, maybe even earlier in 22 for sure. If not
Yeah,
before.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll be here. We'll be here. So look forward to it. All right. Good to chat. I'm glad we got up, eh? You only just popped up like 2 minutes, 1 minute after we were supposed to be up, and oh boy, that's
I,
cool.
I don't know what the glitch was. And our internet's pretty strong here. We've had some issues, but like today, it seems to be working great. So I don't know. It's Murphy's law, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right. So that's all good. Okay, mate. Well, good luck there. Stay safe, fly safe, and let us know when you get back to your boat. Just pull the tent down, and things happen. There'll be a lot of people interested in following. So
Well, with a little luck, maybe before Thanksgiving. So we'll see what happens in the next
yeah,
few days.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool. All right, sounds good. All right. Just see, there's a few people just passing comment, want to see you in the race, and blah, 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 blah. So that's it. Okay. Stay good, stay healthy. Ada says hi. Jane says hi. Thanks for everything, and we'll see you very soon.
Good. Thanks. Good to see all you guys. Thank you again. Bye bye.
Okay. See you later. Yep. Bye bye. Okay. So there's Doug with Uku's boat, and we're looking forward to seeing him over here soon. Fingers crossed. Okay. I'll put this up and see you later. Bye bye.